talk, money more. What? Main crew say they with it. Kicking down the door. Let's go. And it's the whole lane when I'm driving the machines.
All right, well, good Tuesday evening, everyone. Heavy Pour Sports, dropping the hammer. We got the hammer. We got Joshy Boy, and we got Drew. Gentlemen, how the hell are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm doing good.
We know who Joshy Boy is going to be excited to talk about on this show tonight.
Yeah, I'm working from my phone tonight. For some reason, I couldn't get my earbuds on my laptop tonight, so we had to wing it tonight.
All right,
we can hear you now.
Good.
Yep.
It's live TV. We can hear you. We can see you. You sound good. Look good. So
thank you.
Good deal, Drew. My man. What's shaking, Bacon?
Another show, another Tuesday. We're another week closer. I keep saying that every week, but it continues to come true. We're 1 week closer until kickoff. Might as well break down 2 more divisions tonight. Let's do it.
Might as well. I mean, we can't watch.
What else would we be doing?
So we can at least talk about football. Yeah, there's nothing else worth watching on TV, on YouTube, on Twitter, anywhere really. I mean, where are you going to get this kind of entertainment and ball knowledge? Probably a lot of places, but we're here, so here we go. All right, so we're looking tonight at the AFC South and the NFC North. In my opinion, this is kind of a tale of 2 divisions. And in one division, you've got pretty much a clear-cut leader, and probably going to be tough to keep them down. And then the flip side on the other side is you've probably got I think it's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Quite honestly. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about the teams, the breakdown of the rosters, both in additions and losses. We'll talk about drafts. We'll look at schedules. And then once we shake it all out, we'll decide if we like the over or under on the Vegas win totals for each one of these teams. So, gentlemen, if you're ready, we will fire this up and start in AFC.
NFC.
That's right, AFC.
AFC.
Where last year, very tight race between the Jags and the Texans. And had you listened to Old Hammer last year about this time in the preseason, when I was giving all this out, I went against the grain with my typical continuity of head coach quarterback because the Jags brought in Liam Cohen. And typically, I don't like a rookie head coach, especially taking over for a team that, quite frankly, underperformed the last few seasons. The train wreck that was Urban Meyer prior to that, and Trevor Lawrence kind of, I won't say a head case, but he clearly had some issues going on upstairs because the guy's ultra talented, right? But just couldn't put it together on the field. Enter Liam Cohen. And all they did was go 13-4 and win the division. That was a plus 230, 240 bet last summer that I told everybody to make. So if you did, congrats. If you didn't, that's why I'm here. But anyway, so the Texans finished 12-5, and that was large in part to their defense. They, again, saw a little struggle out of C.J. Stroud, who just hasn't looked the same since his rookie season. But we'll see what that looks like with a pretty revamped roster. Then we have the Colts, who look like the best team in the NFL for the first half of the season. They started out 8-2, but then the wheels literally fell off of that wagon as Daniel Jones was trying to play through a broken leg and obviously just couldn't pull it off, had to go to the bench, and then it was over. I think they lost their last 7. So it was a coulda, woulda, shoulda been season for the Colts. And then, of course, Josh, I'm sorry, but the Titans bringing up the rear there. 3 wins last season.
I'm going to tell you why we're going to have a pretty decent season this year.
Well,
later.
when we get to the Titans, I'll let you.
Yes. Yep.
But they bring in Robert Saleh, who is one of the absolute best defensive coaches in the NFL. We saw him do a great job with the defense in San Francisco. Didn't do such a great job in New York as head coach. The defense was still really good. And they've done a little bit of roster overhaul and revamping, brought in some new weapons for hopefully what is franchise quarterback Cam Ward. Maybe they're ready to take a step forward. We'll see. So, gentlemen, we'll start with Houston. I will do a quick overview, and then we'll all have it. So, Houston, their line is set at 9.5. This is D'Amico Ryan's 4th year. They lost 19 free agents and trades with players off the roster. I need to qualify that because somebody fired one at me. I understand that. That's just how I listed it, okay? Just players that aren't on the roster this season. So they lost both running backs, Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon. They lost wide receiver Christian Kirk. They lost what is, in my opinion, one of the biggest hits was Titus Howard. He was involved in the trade to Cleveland. Then they also lost another offensive lineman in Juice Scruggs. That was in the trade to Detroit, which involved David. And then they lost 6 defensive linemen. Now, for most teams, that would just be devastating. We'll see what Texas looks like. Jim Settle, probably the biggest loss there. They also lost Nico Autry and Mario Edwards. The other 3 guys were more rotational players, so not as much impact there. Signing, David Montgomery trade came over from Detroit, where they got their bell cow back. They also got Wyatt Teller, signed in free agency, who will fill a much-needed spot on that offensive line. They also brought in tackle Braden Smith, defensive lineman Logan Paul, and safety Reed Blankenship, which could be a very undervalued play in the offseason for them. We'll see how it pans out, but he's got some ball in him. Draft-wise, first round, they picked up Keelan Rutledge with the 26th pick, a guard out of Georgia Tech. The second round, they got Caden McDonald, defensive tackle from Ohio Taint. And then also in the second round, they got a player from Taint's big brother up there in Ann Arbor, Marlon Klein, a tight end who probably is going to have to come along a little bit. He was better as a blocker from what I understand, but he's probably going to have to come along a little bit there. But, of course, tight end's a quarterback's best friend when he's struggling. So we'll see how that pans out. Schedule-wise, they got the 7th easiest schedule in the NFL, which is crazy for a team that went 12-5. But that's just how it played out. But it's a little deceiving. They've got 2 tough games to open. Then they've got a little bit of an easier stretch, weeks 3 through 7. One of those games is in London against rival Jacksonville. But then to finish the season, they've got a tough stretch of the last 6 weeks or so. So that was a whole lot to say, boys. What do you think about this? Let's see. So I play this out right because, Josh, I definitely want you to go first with the Titans. Drew, tell me about Houston, what you like, what your concerns are, and where you think they're going to fall. Which side of the 9.5 wins are they going to fall on this season?
Yeah, well, I think if anybody watches football, you like the Houston Texans defense. Like last year was incredible. One of the best in the NFL. You know, we're up there with the Seahawks and some of those teams. And so you feel good about the defense. I mean, they had 27 combined sacks last year between Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. Like you can definitely be happy about that. I think the biggest thing with the offense is like it's just at certain times they get a little stagnant. Like CJ Stroud didn't have a terrible year when you look at the numbers, completion percentage, only had 8 turnovers or 8 interceptions, threw for a decent amount of passing yards. It's just, can they consistently like move the football and not have drives where it's 3 and outs and then they continue to stack those 3 and out drives. So I think getting the offense back, I believe Tank Dell's going to be back this year. He's had a rough stretch with injuries. His last one, he completely snapped his leg, which was terrible. And I was watching that game live. You hate to see that.
Yeah.
For him and just when you're a viewer watching the game. But he's a guy that he's very underrated because he can bring some, extremely explosive plays. He's ultra talented, ultra speedy. He can beat you deep over the top. So getting a guy like him back, I think will help some of the offense. And, you bring the defense back, like we mentioned, it was incredible.
It was number 1 in the league statistically.
Yeah.
This last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to be just fine. Like you said, they do play a pretty tough schedule, especially early, some of their early games. Can they kind of weather the storm in the kind of second half of the year or the beginning of the second half of the year? It kind of opens up for them. So if they could kind of survive the storm early in the year, the first half of the year, get to that second half still in contention, I think they can break through. But it's still a decently tough schedule. You said the line was 9.5.
Correct.
I'm going to give them the over on it. I think defense wins you games in the NFL. I think their offense, where it may not be the best offense or near it in the NFL, I think when you have the defense, I think their offense will be better this year. I'm going to take the over 9.5.
All right. Fair enough. Josh, I know you hate all these teams except Tennessee in this division, so you have to be unbiased here. Just like I always am when I talk about a rival team.
I don't hate them. I respect them. Yeah,
I still hate them if I respect them.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Texans?
Yeah, like Drew was saying, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter combined for quite a bit of sacks this past season. And I think the offense is going to be hard to watch at times for most of the season. Like Drew was saying, the Texans defense was number 1 ranking wise, and I like what they did bringing most of everybody back. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, Henry To'oTo'o, Stingley. Yeah, that defensive group is one of the best in the NFL. And here's what I think offensive wise for the Texans. If CJ Stroud can even produce really good offensive numbers this season, I'm going to say the Texans offense could be top 15, maybe 10 this season because I like what they did bringing in David Montgomery from was it free agency or did they trade for him? They traded for him.
I believe it was a trade. They traded,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, I like what they did bringing in Montgomery
in that trade.
In the trade, yeah. Nico Collins is back. Jaden Higgins is back. Most of their offensive line's back. And like Drew said, Tank Dell is going to play this season after suffering just a brutal injury a few years ago. I watched that game live just like you did, Drew. Just sucked for Tank. And 9.5 hammer, just looking at the schedule, glancing at it, they open up first 5 games are going to be really tough. Back end of the schedule, I would go over.
So
I would go right at 10 wins, yeah.
Okay. All right. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good now. You're good now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. I'm glad you pointed that out to me. Thank you. All right. So I wanted to be out on the Texans last year, and I was, and I bet the Jags, and I was right because I was a CJ Stroud fan, even though he went to Suck IU. Coming out, going in, I thought he would be the best quarterback in that class.
Me too.
And he looked the part his rookie year. So you think, oh man, the only place he can go is up, right? Then year 2 happened. Like, okay, sophomore slump. He'll surely bounce back. Well, he actually has gotten worse. His 7 yards per attempt over the last 2 seasons rank worse than Geno Smith's. His 89.5 passer rating is lower than Kyler Murray's. And even though he's got Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Dalton Schultz, David Montgomery, he's got a remade offensive line. Defense I'm not worried about because 1, it's DeMeco Ryans, and 2, it's DeMeco Ryans. So they'll be fine defensively. Scheme, the core guys are there. So the only reason that I'm taking them to go over 9.5 and get 10, exactly 10, is because of that defense. Houston has won double-digit games every season that C.J. Stroud has been the quarterback of this team. So even if he plays a shred better than what he played last year and season before, I don't see how they don't get 10. I can only imagine how good this team is if he actually starts playing good football. He just needs to not play as bad football. So I'm cautiously going to take the over. I don't love it, but I think the schedule is manageable. And if they can get 12 with that poor of quarterback play last year, I think they can get 10, a little bit easier schedule, even if they do regress and that offensive line takes a little bit to kind of come around. I think that stretch on their schedule, what is it? They play week 6 in London against Jacksonville. So that weeks 3 through 7, that's a chance for them to stack some wins to where down the stretch where it gets a little tougher, that even if they split some of those, they can still hit that 10-win mark. So I'm with you boys. I think it's over, but I think it's exactly 10.
That's what I had. And I'll say this. Number 1, C.J. Stroud probably still is the best quarterback in that draft class when you look at it.
I agree.
Bad. Anthony Richardson's been bad too. And Bryce Young, I mean, I guess they're kind of duking it out in the battle to be average. But I think their offensive line should be better than it was last year. I don't know if it'll be crazily improved. And I don't know. Sometimes the best thing for a quarterback is having a bad year and getting called out and getting, completely bashed on social media by fans. And you know the pressure to get your butt in the gym, get your butt on the field to practice and get better. If I'm not mistaken, this is a contract year too. So he needs to have a big year.
This will be year 4, so 5th year I think is option.
Yeah,
and
so
he would be playing for he'd be playing for an extension. So definitely got the incentive is there, and he cut his hair. So
true.
CJ ain't effing around. He's serious.
And I think too, when you're a quarterback, especially as talented as him, it's not a talent issue. It's not an arm issue from CJ Stroud. It's like management things. It's like, certain times, like just take the completions, like those kind, just the little things that you learn at quarterback when you're in like high school. So it's about putting those things together and then improving. And, I think if Tank Dell is healthy, like I mentioned, I think he adds a completely different dynamic to this team that they haven't had consistently the last few years, which is like deep balls and explosives.
Yeah.
Nico
missed a few games last year too, so that didn't. Yeah. He had literally nobody to throw the ball to at times. Dalton Schultz was pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that stuff helps quarterbacks just with a lot of things. It helps them in stats. It helps them with confidence. It helps them with momentum. So I'm banking on CJ Stroud having a good year. I'm confident in that. Obviously, we're all very confident in their defense next year. I think D'Amico Ryan's a hell of a head coach. I think he's proven that so far by what he took over when he got to Houston and where the Texans are now as an organization. And I would, like you guys said, you're around the 10 win mark. I'm about there as well, but I feel comfortable in the fact that they'll win 10 games. And I wouldn't be surprised even if they got to 11 and 12 if CJ Stroud has a really good year and the offense takes off and then the defense stays the same, or they can even drop a little bit. They don't have to be the best defense next year, but obviously if they drop significantly, then there's going to be some serious issues.
Yeah, because defense bailed them out.
Yeah,
more than a couple times last season. So I think it's the key. And to your point, a lot of I think what CJ's issue is certainly not physical. We've seen him make all the throws. We've seen his football IQ. His last year at Ohio State, we saw his rookie season in the NFL. We know he's got the physical tools. We know he can make the throws.
He does.
It's decision making. It's processing. It may be confidence. He's not seeing things the way he did, or he's thinking them. I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into playing quarterback in the NFL. But whatever it is, he's got to get it figured out because right now he's a detriment and a liability more so than he is
for sure
an asset. So if they can just unlock something with him and break through a little bit, I mean, this team could be in the AFC is wide open in my opinion. So if they can get good quarterback play out of CJ Stroud, I mean, this team has the defense and the weapons to make a run.
And I'll say this. Oh, go ahead, Drew.
All right.
And I know this. I know some people out there, like the betting experts, they like the Texans as a dark horse as a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'll just say this too. Like, the problem is if you guys remember, the Texans were in that game against the Patriots, who obviously ultimately went on to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. They were in that game, and Stroud was 20 for 47 passing. That's 42.6%. 212.
You can't throw the ball that many times. You just can't.
Yeah.
No, one touchdown, 4 interceptions. And he had 5 total turnovers, and yet the Texans were still in that game. So that's the problem going into the offseason. That was not a good way to finish the year for a quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
But, maybe it motivates the heck out of him. Maybe CJ Stroud gets back to being who we think CJ Stroud is. But we'll see. I mean, that's a tough way for the year to end. But yeah, I have confidence that CJ Stroud will be a lot better next year. For whatever reason, I'm not sure. But I believe in it.
Well, he can't be worse. Otherwise, they're looking at missing the playoffs.
Yeah, certainly. And not hitting that 9.5.
Yeah, because I think it's going to take 10 to get there.
I do too.
So, all right. So everybody's on the over 9.5. It may be by a gnat's nutsack hair, but over is over.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's move on. We'll go to Indianapolis. They're 8-9 last year. Sorry, I didn't give this. Texans had the 18th ranked offense last year and the league's number 1 defense. That is total offense and defense. The Colts at 8-9, they had, even with all of their afflictions and, issues down the stretch, they still ended up number 9 offense in the league. So with Jonathan Taylor, anything can happen. But defensively, they were 23rd. So they did have a bit of struggle defensively. Their win total this year set at 7.5, so right on that 8-win mark that they came in with last year. Shane Steichen is in his 4th season, which doesn't seem possible. I still feel like he just left Philly, but he did not.
Yeah.
They lost 19 free agents. The most significant, obviously, the big name is Michael Pittman in that trade to Pittsburgh. They also lost Braden Smith. They also lost a ton of players. They lost 6 defensive linemen, one of which was edge rusher Quiddy Pay, and that's going to be tough to kind of overcome. They did sign. We'll get to him in a minute. They did sign one. We'll see how it works out. And then they also lost Zaire Franklin. They traded him to Green Bay. And then they also lost safety Nick Cross. So they lost a key player at every level of that defense, which did I mention they were 23rd last year in total defense?
Yep.
Here's where it gets interesting. They only signed exactly uno offensive players in free agency. That was Nick Westbrook-Akine. Everybody else was defense. So they got Arden Key, edge rusher. They got Akeem Davis-Gaither, linebacker. And they got cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt. Those are the big names. Then they signed a bunch of, depth, rotational type players. The draft, they didn't have a first-round pick. They sent that to New York in the Sauce Gardner trade. They did draft in the second round C.J. Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia. They also got A.J. Halsey, safety out of LSU. And, Drew, you'll like this one. In the fourth round, they got Jalen Farmer, a guard out of Kentucky. So, pretty heavy SEC draft there for the Colts. We'll see how that works out because they did draft to fill spots that they lost players in. But it's tough to replace those level of players in Pay, Franklin, and Cross with rookies. So we'll see how it pans out. Schedule-wise, they got the fourth easiest, tied with Atlanta, based on percentage of last year's win percentage last year. They start out pretty tough. Week 1 through 5 is tough. They do have a game in London against Washington. And their bye week doesn't come until week 13. So depending on how they look going into that could be a catch our breath and get ready to make the push because the stretch going down to the end of the season is manageable. It's fairly easy. But those first 5 games are kind of going to determine how their season goes. And obviously we need to see what Daniel Jones is going to look like coming back from injury. So there you go. That's the tail of the tape, if you will. Josh, tell us about the Colts and why you think they're going over or under that 7.5 win total mark.
Yeah, like you were saying, Hammer, Daniel Jones had a really good season in his first year at the helm with the Colts last year until he got injured. So, Colts roster-wise, not a big fan of what they did in free agency. I like what they did in the draft okay, but drafting C.J. Allen from Georgia, I put a small little bet on him to win Defensive Player Rookie of the Year, like that draft by the Colts. And Colts bring back most of their offensive players besides losing Michael Pittman to Pittsburgh. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to have another great season this year for the Colts. The guy is just an offensive scoring touchdown machine. And my question is, with Alec Pierce right now hurt, we don't know his certainty going into the season. Do the Colts slot in Nick Westbrook-Akine or Deion Brooks at that for Pierce's position if he is unable to go week 1? Defensive-wise, I like their front three, Arden Key, Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner. I don't like the rest of their defense besides Chardavius Ward. I'm really not high on this Colts team this year. They got a really tough schedule. First 7 weeks of the season are against pretty hard teams. I got them going under that 7.5 win total. I just don't see it in this second year of Daniel Jones. I think he's going to go down after having a pretty good season last year.
Okay, so you're on the under. You're not drinking the blue Kool-Aid up there in Indiana.
No.
Okay. Drew, what are your thoughts on the Colts
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Jalen Farmer. I think that was a good pick. He out of Kentucky. The reason I say that is he is a athletic, like strong beast at the guard position. I really wanted Kentucky to bring him back. I think Kentucky's line will be fine this year without him, but he's a really good player. So that's a great pick. Not to make it about Kentucky either, but another really good pick late in the draft was Seth McGowan, the running
Seth
back.
McGowan, yeah.
I've seen some really good stuff out of him in camp. Apparently, I think the expectation is he'll make the 53-man roster. I think he could compete for that running back too. And I'll say this, if you watch the Colts offense, Daniel Jones likes the dump offs. He likes the flats. If Seth McGowan can prove himself and get on the field, I think he can really – first off, I think he can get the ball in those areas, and I think he can be really good in those areas. He's a really good – running back in space. He's got elite speed, and he's really good out of the passing game as well. So I just wanted to mention that. But as far as the Colts go, it's so hard to judge them because last year they were so good early. And then, like you mentioned, Daniel Jones injury. I guess he's like fully back now, 100%. I think it was after a torn Achilles, so that's unfortunate. But like it's so hard to judge, like because they were 8-2, they didn't make a lot of moves in the offseason, but they were 8-2, and then the wheels fell off. That was due by injury and a lot of other weird things. So they're a hard team to judge. They brought back a lot of guys outside of making a couple of trades, like you guys mentioned. So, like, are they going to be what they were early in the year? Are they going to be what they were late in the year? We'll have to see. I think the one good trade that they did make last year in the middle of the season, which we didn't really get to see fully because it's always those kinds of trades are weird, but getting Sauce Gardner at cornerback, I think that can help. Like you said, Hammer, they were like 21st or 23rd in defense last year. Getting a good corner certainly helps, especially in the passing game. And Sauce has been pretty good at getting turnovers, through his career. So I don't know. Tyler Warren as well. I don't know if you guys mentioned him, but he's a beast of a tight end. He was a rookie last year out of Penn State. He had a fantastic year. And to be quite honest, that's what the Colts offense is. It's running the football with Jonathan Taylor, play action to the tight ends, hit the flats, kind of that old school kind of offense. And all Daniel Jones really has to do is just execute, make good decisions, and hit the open man. So at 8.5, though, man, I'm like 7.5. I'll take the over then. 7.5. I'll take the over. If it was 8.5, I was right in the middle because I would have chose 8 or 9. But if it's 7.5, I believe they'll get over. Yeah,
it is 7.5. You can find an 8.5, I'm sure, somewhere and go under, but it'd probably be pretty heavy juice on it. Last I checked, the under was plus 105 and over was minus 125. That's where it was when I did not bet this because I'm with you fellers, as I like to say. I'm not sure. The line to me is a little confusing because they would have cleared this line last year in the first 9 weeks of the season, I think.
Yeah.
They signed Daniel Jones, gave him a bunch of money. They signed Alec Pierce, gave him a bunch of money. And then what happens? They both get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I can't bet this team to do much. My gut tells me they can win 8 games on this schedule. If Daniel Jones is returned to form, they might be able to get over that hump and go 9-8. They're a plus 380 to win the division. And they got 2 pretty good teams ahead of them that won 4 and 5 more games than they did last year, respectively. Majority of those which were, of course, without Daniel Jones. So I'm very hesitant. It's more of a lean than it is because I need to see what Daniel Jones is going to look like. And they were tied for next to last in pass defense last year. The Ravens were dead last, and only the Cowboys, who considered pass defense optional last season, were worse. So I'm going to have to see it. I can't just get excited about it. So I am slightly leaning over 7.5, but I don't love it. All right. So we will move forward to Jacksonville, our division winner last year, 13-4. They were exactly 11th and 11th in total offense and total defense. So just outside that top 10 in both. And I've seen lines for this team at both 8.5 and 9.5. When I saw it originally, it was 9.5. I bet under. I don't know if it's now flipped juice to the under. Let me look, because I don't want to give you a bad line. Let's see, NFL, right? That's where we're at. Yeah. Jacksonville live line right now is 8.5. It is juiced to the over. So Vegas thinks they're going to fall exactly on that 9 wins.
Wow.
So that's yep. So there you go. We'll get to all that in our picks here in a minute, but just let's operate on 8.5 for this line, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
That's the live. So Liam Cohen in his second year obviously came down from offensive coordinator position in college to head coach in the NFL. He is second season. Free agents, they only lost a handful. Handful's kind of a relative term in the NFL. They lost 11. But out of the 11, they have 4 that are pretty significant. They lost running back Travis Etienne. They lost linebacker Devin Lloyd. They lost cornerback Greg Newsome. And they lost safety Aaron Wingard. Free agent signings, they signed a whole bunch of running backs. They got Amir Abdullah. They got DJ Dallas. They got Chris Rodriguez, another former Cat. Outside of that, man, they didn't really bring anybody in worth mentioning. They had a lot of re-signings and guys that they kept under contract from last year's team, which would bode well for a team that won 13 games, right? So can't really fault them there. They did not have a first-round pick. They gave that up in that Travis Hunter move up a couple seasons ago. With the second pick, they got a tight end out of Texas A&M. I'm going to butcher the dude's name. So Nate B., which I'm a little puzzled by that pick. I thought maybe they could have done something to maybe help another position, another place. I know that Liam Cohen likes to use the tight end and all, but I'm scratching my head at that one. The third round, they got Albert Regis, also from Texas A&M. He's a defensive tackle. And in the third round, they got, which I think is their best draft pick, is Emmanuel Pregnon. He is a guard from Oregon, and he is a road grader. So I think that's probably a sleepy good pick for them. I think he's going to be able to start early in his career. Schedule, it's the 11th easiest. They got a tough first 6 weeks. And weeks 5 and 6 of that schedule are in London. They love them some Jacksonville Jaguars in London.
They do.
Yeah.
I was over there a few years ago. I went the game they played the Bills.
Oh, nice.
So it was pretty cool. They do love them some football over there in London. I'll give them that, because that place, it was at Hotspur Stadium, and it was completely packed, man. And I've got a video, everybody singing.
They keep going back.
Between the third and the fourth quarter, they put a list like 4 songs up, and you scan the QR code, whatever, and text in which song.
Yeah.
Whichever song has the most votes, that's the one they play, and everybody does a sing along. It was so cool, man. I got a video of that.
Nice.
Anyway, I digress. But yeah, Jacksonville is basically London's NFL team, it would seem, because they go over there and play a couple games every season. So, all right, let's see. So, Drew, we're back to you because we got to save the Titans for Josh. What are your thoughts on Jacksonville? This is your coach here now, Liam Cohen.
Damn.
That don't sound good.
Well, it's just unfortunate, I loved me some Liam Cohen. Thought he did a great job at Kentucky and then left and then came back. It didn't go as well as it was supposed to, but it still wasn't bad. And then just a couple years later, the whole Kentucky football program came crashing down. Obviously, Mark Stoops was fired. Liam Cohen's surging up in the NFL ranks, and you're like, well, what could have been? So that's all the Kentucky talk for tonight. But I love Liam Cohen. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a good connector of a locker room. I think he's very smart, really good offensive coach. Obviously, we've seen what he did in Tampa and now in Jacksonville. I thought he did a great job last year of, Trevor Lawrence wasn't in the MVP conversation or anything like that, but he looked different, for most of the year. He looked more like sure of himself. He looked more confident. He brought some more running to his game that he didn't use a lot in the past. And I thought Trevor Lawrence took a big step forward last year as a quarterback. The one thing about Jacksonville to me is he was on my fantasy team last year and he almost pissed me off every week, but that's Brian Thomas Jr.
You ain't kidding, brother.
They got to get him more involved on a weekly basis. He's way too talented. He's way too big. He can jump way too high. Like, for him to have the year that he had, I would text my brother every week and I would be like, can Brian Thomas Jr. do something? Because it was frustrating because we all know the type of receiver he is. And as a rookie, he was incredible. So I think, can they get Brian Thomas Jr. back breaking out as a receiver? Because I truly believe he's if he puts it all together, I think he could be one of the top receivers in the NFL. Like, if you just look at him, the way he runs routes. Now he has some drop problems at times, but can they get the best version of Brian Thomas Jr.? I'm hoping so this year because I'm in a dynasty league, so he'll be back on my team. We're gonna try. We're gonna bet on the future. So I need a big year from Brian Thomas Jr. But I think the other thing is Travis Hunter. Like, he's an ultra talented player. My guess, he looks massive this offseason too. Like, he's been in the gym getting big.
Dude, he looks like Tennessee's strength and conditioning coach got a hold of him. That boy packs some muscle.
Yeah, his body has changed tremendously. I don't know what their plan is. I wasn't able to dive that deep in my research. If they've shared, is he going to play primarily offense? Is he going to play primarily defense? I'm not sure. To me, though, if you're the Jaguars, primarily put him on offense and use his skill set along with Brian Thomas Jr., which can hopefully, especially if you're going to have some running back concerns with ETN leaving, I think put him on offense, and then you have two dynamic playmakers at receiver. And so that's what I would look for. I think the one thing about Chris Rodriguez, though, and I'll say this as a Kentucky fan, I don't know if he's really got the fairest shot in terms of his NFL career. I think every time he was with the Commanders for a really long time, and every time he got
really good. He looked really good with them.
Yeah, he was always very efficient, averaged like 5 yards a carry, would score touchdowns. He would even like get some passes in the passing, or get some receptions in the passing game, which he didn't even ever do at Kentucky. So I think that's interesting. I'll say this, though. Liam Cohen was offensive coordinator at Kentucky in 2021. Chris Rodriguez was the running back for Kentucky in 2021. He had 225 carries, 1,379 yards, and 9 touchdowns. So I think that's some positive. Like, although it's college to the NFL, I think there's obviously a similarity there. I think Liam Cohen can maybe bring back some of those schemes, some of those concepts that work for C-Rod in college at Kentucky. And I think Chris Rodriguez can be, I'm not saying he'll be, an elite back or anything. Hell, I'm not even sure if he's going to be the Jaguar starting running back.
He's not. Michelle Tootin will be.
Yeah, but I think Chris Rodriguez can be an effective running back too. Certainly can be used in the red zone, power back situations, tight yardage, 3rd and 1s, 3rd and inches, pick up that first down because he's really good at that. He's almost impossible to bring down because he's such a big body. He runs hard, runs strong. So I think that's, and then I think defensively they're an interesting group too. So we'll see there. But I like this Jaguars team. I think I think they'll even take a step farther. They were in the playoffs last year. I think we'll see another kind of, to me, I think we'll see another kind of step towards Trevor Lawrence becoming, a good quarterback, a good starting quarterback. I don't know if he'll ever live up to the expectations that he had coming out of college. I think we're a little bit too deep in his NFL career to reach those, kind of expectations. But I think he's starting to become a really good quarterback, especially like I mentioned, when he's getting effective in the run game. So I'm bullish on the Jaguars. I think they're going to have a pretty good year.
Okay, so you like over. Well, we settled on 8.5 as their number. So you like them for 9 or better.
Yeah, I think certainly. Hell, I'll even go a step farther. I think this is the team that's going to win the division again.
Oh, shoot. Okay. That's plus 245.
Yeah.
All
Them
right.
are the Texans. I think it'll be neck and neck between them and the Texans.
Yeah. So you're expecting kind of a repeat of last year then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. Josh, one of your arch rival nemesis teams.
Yep,
You got to say something good about them.
I do.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I got a few good things. Yeah, so Liam Cohen went from Kentucky as Kentucky's offensive coordinator to Jacksonville a few years ago, and Trevor Lawrence coming off a really good season for the Jags last year. I'm going to make a bold prediction right now for the Jaguars, and this is for everybody watching this video. I think Trevor Lawrence, if not finishes runner-up for the MVP, I think he's going to win the NFL MVP. I think the offense is going to step where it left off last year, and I would say the only weak spot on the offense would be at running back with the uncertainty. You don't know who's going to step up and produce after losing Travis Etienne. I will say this, a very underrated wide receiver for the Jags that I do like is this Parker Washington guy. He had a really good season last year. Dude is just a reception target. And defense, I will say this about the Jags. I do like their front three. Linebackers are okay. And I would say the weak spot on their defensive side of the ball would be the cornerback position. I know they got Travis Hunter, but the uncertainty with the other two cornerbacks. Schedule-wise, looking at the Jags schedule, while Drew was talking, I counted 11 wins for the Jaguars. I got them as repeating as division winners.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
so y'all liking you some Liam Cohen up there, huh?
yeah.
Well, I always did. I
Cohen,
just wish he
sorry.
never left. I just wish he never left me. That's all.
So yeah, Hammer, tell me a little bit about this Emmanuel Prignon guy from Oregon, guard.
Give me a second. Get to
All
my
right.
rookie notes here, or draft pick notes rather. Do. Well, let me get off the Colts.
That might help.
Easier to find him that way. Not my draft analysis because obviously I was not there at the combine or anything like that. So
Right.
these are some notes I gathered up on him. Very durable, experienced, has the prototypical frame of a downhill blocker. He'll get beat to first contact, but he usually reclaims the rep using his hands in good places, broad base, and very strong upper body. He finishes blocks. His range and foot quickness are average as a move blocker. And pass protection, he leverages his strength well. He's quick to deflect twists and blitz developments. He has long pass slides and forward lunges. sub-package rushers, but protection isn't a major concern. He'll be an older rookie who projects as a good plug-and-play starter and immediate run-blocking upgrade. So he's expected to be able to come in and just start right away. May not, but he's capable. And he is he's a road grader. He is a downhill blocker. He is somebody that will get his hands on you and leverage and put you on your ass. Mm-hmm. So he big, strong, and nasty. It's exactly what you want out of a guard in run blocking. Going to have to get a little better pass protection. But absolute beast in run blocking. And I'll be just perfectly honest, I'm not excited about Amir Abdullah. We've seen him peak and peaked very early, has not been impactful. DJ Dallas had a couple flashes with Seattle when everybody and their mama was hurt. Chris Rodriguez is the absolute best signing that they made to come in where Michelle Tootin will step into the one spot and Chris Rodriguez comes into that 1A spot, because we all know you got to have two backs in the NFL, unless you're Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry. And not everybody are either of those two guys. So I love for the team them bringing Rodriguez in, because I think he can make an impact and take some of that wear and tear off of Tootin. And I mean, he's not the biggest dude, so I don't know if he can handle the load of a full NFL season. So we may see a little bit more close to an even split between those two, but they're both very good between the tackles. They both can come out of the backfield. So it's a good pairing. The thing I get hung up on, guys, with this team is what they lost. They lost Devin Lloyd. That's huge. I think Travis Etienne, because he did have some injury issues early, I think some people kind of slept on him a little bit. He was a monster last year, and now he's off to New Orleans. So I think that's big. You lose two guys out of the secondary, one being a pretty good corner in Greg Newsome. And they didn't really do anything else that I feel like impacted their team.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did okay in the draft. They addressed needs, but who they signed in free agency and who they drafted does not replace what they lost. So I'm concerned there. That screams regression to me. And then, when your first pick is a 25-year-old backup tight end, I kind of scratched my head a little bit. So I do believe in Liam Cohen. He's the reason I bought into it last year. So it's not that. And I understand that they accomplished a lot of what they did last year without Travis Hunter, and Brian Thomas, Drew, to your point, was, APB was put out on him for a large part of the season. I had him too. I took him in drafts. I had turns from 1 to second round. He was the second pick.
Yeah.
I
bet he pissed you off too.
I had Malik Neighbors targeted.
Sure.
I had Drake London targeted, and I had Brian Thomas Jr. targeted. I was getting 2 of those 3 wide receivers in every draft come hell or high water, and boy, was it a joke on me.
Yeah.
Neighbors goes down, week 5?
Yeah, torn ACL.
And they still haven't found Brian Thomas. They're going to put a GPS tracker on him this season, I guess. So if they bounce back, if Travis Hunter is healthy and decides he wants to play which side of the ball, and I think he's going to have to go all in on one or the other. I said it going in. He's not going to be able to play both. Here you go, Travis. You're going to have to pick something. But if Brian Thomas will live up to his potential, I think they get over this.
Yeah.
There was even some talk. I don't know how public it was or how much it actually had legs, but there was some talk about possibly Gladstone trading Thomas and some picks, trying to get A.J. Brown. So I don't know. It's on one hand,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to sit here and say they're going to regress by 5 games. But then there's another part of me that looks at what they did in the offseason and in the draft, and I don't have a lot of confidence in what they're doing. And let's look at the schedule. This is one I do want to dig in a little bit. Josh, go ahead while I pull this up.
Yeah, and Hammer, what do you think about their other wide receiver targets like Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers?
I like Washington. He was a hot waiver wire guy last year. Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And Jacoby Myers, I mean, he's been around. He's reliable. He just
Yep.
I don't know.
He was really
not
good
excited.
2 years ago in Vegas. He was really
he was
good.
great in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, it's how's it going to work out? And if he gets thrust into
True.
duty, I think they'll be okay. But he doesn't move the needle for me that much, to be honest.
He's a damn good wide receiver 3, though.
He is. He's right in the slot, and he's talented, and he can contribute. He's not an alpha guy.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas has to be the alpha on that team. If he's not, then they're not going to win.
They're in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, I also need it for my fantasy football team. So
I heard you.
Yeah.
I heard you. I think I've got him on a dynasty team too. So, all right. So they open against the Browns. Let's count these up, boys. That's a win.
That's a win.
They go to Denver.
I think that's a loss.
Yeah.
They host the Patriots.
Win.
Yeah, I'm going to take a win at home.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to. All right. Drew, Josh, Hammer. All right. Then they go to Cincinnati.
I'm going to take a win there.
I'm going to take a loss.
Okay.
For Jags. Yeah.
Okay. That's a loss for me. Then they go to London and they take on Philadelphia.
That's a loss.
I got them losing that.
I got them winning it.
I got them splitting both those London games.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
And then week 6, still in London, they play the Texans.
Yeah, it's a loss. Or I'm sorry, that's a win. Yeah, that's a win.
So y'all picking to be Houston?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking backwards.
Both of you have them picking Houston.
Yeah.
No, I have Jacksonville.
Beating Houston. Yeah.
I mean, beating Houston.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got them losing that game. Then they have a bye, very timely after spending what will probably amount to the better part of 3 weeks in London.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I could do it, but it's a little tough on them big old football players to sleep in them little bitty beds. So
yeah.
All right, then they come back home week 8. They host the Colts.
Win.
Dub.
I agree. Then they go to Baltimore. It is I guess it's a Thursday night game.
Got that as a loss.
Drew?
Win.
That's a loss for me too. Week 10, they go to the Titans.
Win.
It's a win for me, Josh.
L. I got them splitting home and home.
So you think they lose to
Yes.
the Titans in Nashville? Okay.
Yes.
All right. They go to the Giants.
Win.
Win.
I think it's a loss. Week 12, they host the Titans.
Win.
Win.
I have it as a win. Week 13, they go to Chicago.
Loss.
I got that as a loss.
I do too. They host Pittsburgh.
Win.
Win.
I'm with you. That's a win. They go to Houston.
Loss.
Loss.
I agree. They travel to Dallas.
Loss.
Win. I got them winning that one.
I got them losing that one. They'll get outscored.
Yeah.
If Dak's not hurt, as usual. Week
Yeah.
17, they host the Commanders.
Win.
Win.
I think that's a win. Week 18, they travel to Indianapolis.
Win.
Yeah, I got them sweeping Indianapolis.
Okay. And I agree. I think they beat the Colts. So that puts Drew at 10 wins, or excuse me, 12 wins. That puts Josh at 10. And that puts me at 8.
A little diversity here.
Pretty much spread it across the board. So,
yeah.
I'll be honest though, that's kind of what the Jaguars are. Like, they're kind of like they could be. They're kind of hit or miss. So
yeah, because we've already seen them go from 9.5 to 8.5. The line moved down.
Yeah.
So betting handle has driven that number down. So a lot of people thinking that they're going to go under 10.
Yeah.
Not y'all. Y'all are all over to 10 plus. So
yeah,
interesting. We'll see.
I said I think they can win the division. So
you did, and you said you thought they could win 11 or 12 games. So
I got them winning the division as well.
Okay. Well, I don't hate it, but I don't know. I'm not sold. We'll see. That's why they play the games.
exactly.
All right. Last but certainly not least, unless you're going by record last year, and they were, which was 3-14, the Tennessee Titans. They were 31st in offense last year. They were 21st in defense. I have conflicting lines on this. Oh, real quick, I pulled this up, but we kept going. If you think Trevor Lawrence can win the MVP, he is 25-1 right now. So it'd be a nice little payout if that were to
for sure.
That were to happen. So let me see where the line is now. Yes, it is 6.5 on the Titans. That's what I have. It is basically a coin flip. It's minus odds either way, minus 105 to the over, minus 115 to the under. That tells me that Vegas doesn't know what in the hell is going to happen. So they're going to play it safe. And some reason, I fat-fingered that. I had them at 66.5. That was definitely going to be an under. Robert Saleh takes over his first year. Free agent losses. Boy, they lost a bunch. They lost Chigo Okonkwo, their tight end. They lose Lloyd Cushenberry. Josh, was that a trade to the Bills?
I want to say it was, yeah.
I think it was.
It was either a trade or he was a free agent.
Yeah, that's the only two options.
Yeah.
That's big. I've said it before. You lose your starting center.
Yeah.
Got that chemistry, that rapport with your quarterback. That's kind of tough. They lost Arden Key, edge rusher, to the Colts. We just talked about him. Here's another one that's big. Defensive tackle, Devondre Sweat, got traded to the Jets. Now, they did get
I'm
Jermaine
not really
Johnson.
worried about that one, yeah.
They did get Jermaine Johnson, so it looks terrible on paper with like some of these key names missing off this team. However, Robert Saleh came in and totally revamped this roster. They signed 29 free agents. The aforementioned Jermaine Johnson, the trade from the Jets being the biggest acquisition. They also got John Franklin Myers. Yep, defensive lineman. My favorite, Vol for Life, cornerback Alontae Taylor.
Yes.
They also got Cordell Flott. And then, laugh if you want, people, but they got Tommy Townsend, the punter.
Elite punter.
Punter. And I'm telling you, you can't underestimate a guy that can pin you back and just dial up dimes on punts. This guy can do it.
Yeah.
He kicked for years in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
He's lethal. So I thought it was I know it's a kicker, and typically I hate kickers, but this
Pretty
guy,
good signing.
he is the truth, let me tell you, when it comes to punters.
Yeah.
Draft, I really like their draft. In fact, I'll go so far as to say, Josh, you'll love me for this, I think the Titans had the best draft in this division, and I don't think it's particularly close. The first round with the 4th pick, I know a lot of Titans fans, Joshy Boy included, were hoping Jeremiah Love was going to be there, but I think they got a pretty good consolation prize in Carnell Tate.
I'm happy about it. Yeah.
Yeah, wide receiver out of Suck IU. Also in the first round, they got Keldrick Falk, edge rusher out of Auburn, stud. Second round, they got Anthony Hill, linebacker out of Texas, stud. Either I didn't write them down or
what were you looking for, Hammer?
I didn't like them. Nope, that's correct. They traded their 3rd and 4th round picks. That's what I thought.
Yes.
I thought that was the case. I just failed to note that in my notes. Then you got to bounce to the 5th round, but they did get a little jewel. So if you're a fantasy football player, I'm going to give you a freebie. Remember the name Nick Singleton.
Penn State.
Running back out of Penn State. All he did, and you think about the running backs we've seen come out of Penn State. Saquon, Curtis Enos, probably a bunch more I just can't think of right now. This kid is the career leader at Penn State University in all-purpose yards. 5,586 of them. Nick Singleton. You'll get to know him at some point this season. I got a feeling. Their schedule for a team that only won 3 games last year, they only got the 8th easiest schedule.
Yeah. Thought it would be much easier, but it's not.
Weeks 4 through 8, brutal.
Yep.
What we see happen weeks 7 through 13 is going to determine their season.
It will.
Josh, I think they can open the season 2-1.
Who are the wins you have them starting out 2-1 against? Well, obviously the Jets.
Yeah, everybody's going to beat the Jets.
Yeah. Who's the other W, you think?
Hang on, let me get to their schedule. I think it was the
Giants or Eagles?
The Giants. We haven't talked about the NFC, so I'm not going to dig into this too much. And
we'll get to it next week.
Yet. You'll have to check back in with me next week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sold on this Harbaugh Giants marriage yet.
Okay.
And I think it's going to take a little time to figure it out. Plus, we don't know what Malik Neighbors is going to look like. Scatterboo's coming back from injury, right?
Yep.
Jackson Dart is a mass unit waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk about it more next week, but I'm not sold on them, and we'll get into it. I'll tell you why. I think the Titans could shock the Giants, and they could start 2-1. The Eagles, I'm afraid, are going to beat the shit out of them. And then the schedule gets tough.
Yeah.
But I think they can start 2-1. I think they can get the Jets at home. I think they can get the Giants on the road. I don't think they're going to beat Philly, though, Josh. If they do, they can start 3-0 and be going into Baltimore week 4 playing with some
house money. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Only 3 wins last year. Their line this year. Vegas likes them a little bit.
Well, I'm definitely taking. Well, I'll save that until I'm done rambling. Okay.
Go ahead and ramble because the floor is yours, my man.
Yeah. So Cam Ward with some highs and lows in 2025 showed flashes in a terrible situation as a rookie, but struggled overall. Poor efficiency metrics, weapons, midseason coaching change. Second-year quarterbacks often take a big leap steps, and the Titans massively upgraded his supporting cast. First round, wide receiver with the number 4 pick, Carnell Tate. Free agent signing, Wandell Robinson from Kentucky and the New York Giants. And I'm going to cross my fingers, hopefully a healthy Calvin Ridley. And continuing options like Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears in the backfield, plus Gunnar Helm. And with coach and overhaul, Robert Sala, defensive expert, plus offensive coordinator Brian Dable. Dable's creativity and track record development, big mobile quarterbacks think early Josh Allen and help unlock Ward and modernize the offense. Solid schemes plus new pieces and raise the defensive floor significantly from last year. 4 rankings near the bottom in points and yards allowed. Like you were saying, Hammer, defense improvements. They added John Franklin Myers from Denver and adding Jermaine Johnson from New York. And I think with this roster, my main concern, Hammer, like you were saying, on the offensive line, I think they're going to struggle, and I think Cam is going to be running for his life a lot. But I think this offense is going to score a lot of points this season. My big concern is the center position. Who's going to start, Austin Schlottman or Pat Coogan from Indiana? And my big concern on the defensive side of the ball is obviously the cornerback position. I just think that is a big uncertainty. Hammer, like you were saying with the schedule, it all depends on the Titans season this year. Are they going to start out 2-1, or are they going to start out 1-2? And I think the back half of the schedule is going to be a big teller on if the Titans are going to get the 7 wins or if they're going to win like 2 or 3 games this year. So that is what I think about the Tennessee Titans this year.
Okay, so over or under 6.5?
Looking at the schedule, I got them starting out 2-1 like you do. I'm going to go right at 7+ wins for the Titans.
So you're over.
Yes.
What's it at again?
Right.
Line is
6.5.
6.5, and it's basically a coin flip. It's -105 over. It's -115 under.
Yep.
So if the Titans somehow could figure out how to win half a game, that's what Vegas thinks is going to happen.
And I will say this about Carnell Tate. I think I'm going to make a bold prediction, 2 predictions. I think he is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year this year, and I think he is going to be Cam Ward's favorite target, and I also think he is going to have a 1,000-yard receiving season this year. Book it.
Okay.
Interesting.
Drew?
Yeah,
either confirm or rebuke what Josh just said.
No, I'm not going to rebuke, because I think he made some good points. I think for me, the question mark's still out on Cam Ward. Like, can he be a real, like, NFL quarterback and not just play, like, shuffle your feet in the back and chuck it 70 yards and hope somebody catches it? I think that'll be interesting. I do love the offensive coordinator hiring Brian Dable. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's a really good offensive coordinator, really good quarterback coach, really good schemer. I think it's important too. Obviously, we touched on Wandell Robinson being signed, obviously former Kentucky boy, but there's familiarity there. Obviously, Wandell was with the New York Giants for the last 4 or 5 years. Brian Dable was his head coach for a long time, did a good job of scheming him open. So I like that on both sides for Wandell. I like the fact that he gets to go somewhere, and I don't know who their number 1 priority will be at receiver between him and Carnell Tate, but I mean, Wandell's coming off a 1,000+ yard season and 4 touchdowns. So maybe it's him. But I like that he'll get a new opportunity. I think he needed a fresh start. He battled some injuries with New York early in his career. The last 2 years he's played, a good amount, and he showed out. Obviously, like I mentioned last year, 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. But I don't know. I'll say this about the Titans. I really love Tajay Spears. Like, he's a really fun player.
Mhm.
He's very unique. Like, he's kind of a receiving back, but he can run the ball well. You mentioned it earlier with the waivers. He was a waiver pickup for me a couple weeks, and he did a pretty good job. So I think he's effective. I'd be interested to see if Dable puts him more, like maybe splits him out and like has him in some receiver opportunities. I think that'd be good for Tennessee, because I think he could do it and do it at a high level. Like you said, Hammer and Joshy boy, they play a decently tough schedule. I just don't know. I think they had a great offseason in terms of coaching hires, in terms of signings, in terms of the chance because of developmental from some young guys. I think they're a little bit more of a process than what we think. Now, they're not. I certainly don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. I think they're past that. I don't think they're down by the Jets level or the Dolphins or the Cardinals. So I think they'll be better, but I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take them winning about 6 games. So they're going to be right under. But I think they'll be a little more competitive than what they were last year. And I think if Cam Ward and Brian Dable can get on the same page, if they can have success, then I think the Titans are maybe a year away from making the playoffs the following year, for another year of the draft, another year of being able to use free agency. Because let's just be real, the Titans have been a disaster the last 3 seasons under Brian Callahan. So they've had to rebuild like crazy. It didn't matter what quarterback was in there, whether it was Will Levis, whether it was Mason Rudolph. Even Cam Ward. You were not having zero success with the Titans because Callahan's offensive schemes were horrible. They had no offensive line. Their running back room got questionable. Even with Derrick Henry, he wasn't running at the level he was early in his career. He's kind of flipped that back in Baltimore. So I think the Titans are on an upward trajectory of where they've been. But I just don't know if they're quite at the level of the Patriots of completely flipping this thing around in a year. But I think they'll be a lot more competitive, and I'll take the under, but I'm not as confident in taking the under, but I've taken 3 overs so far in this division, and at some point one of them's going to go under. And so my pick for that's going to be the Titans, but I think they'll win somewhere between 5 to 6 games this year.
Okay, so under 6.5, but you think it's close?
I think it's really close, yeah.
Okay.
Hammer, before you get breaking down my Titans, I want to ask you, they fired all of Brian Callahan's staff except for one guy. What do you think about them bringing back Jim Fossil on the special teams?
I don't know if I've got ready a special teams ranking.
Okay.
Historically, he's a good coach.
Yes.
Right? And I feel like if he's good enough for Robert Saleh, then I feel like we need to probably just count that as a win and have confidence. Because I can't really speak to him specifically based on how they performed last year, but what I can do is speak to my confidence in Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably that retention is probably a positive. So
fair.
All right. So here's where I'm at with the Titans.
Okay.
This team has not had a winning season since the playoff loss to Cincinnati 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
And they're coming off back-to-back 3-win seasons. We saw some teams. We saw the Patriots do it last year. We saw the Bears do it last year. Worst to first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This team's a couple seasons away at least from being able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like Saleh. I like his experience coaching defense. I like his success and history, track record. Coached for the Niners 2 occasions. They've kind of reworked That defense, I love Alontae Taylor coming in.
Mhm.
The Jermaine Johnson trade, that's probably, even money.
Yeah.
And they've got a beneficial schedule that works in their favor, not just because of the opponents and who they play, but how it's put together.
Yeah.
They get a full week of rest before every game. They don't have any of that wonky Sunday, Thursday crap. Their buys like dead center of the schedule. And they have – this is weird stat, but I'm into this shit. And sometimes weird stuff matters. But they have the 6th fewest travel miles expected in the NFL.
Wow.
How did you find that stat, by the way?
Bookies.com.
Okay.
Dang.
So they don't have a lot of excessive travel.
Mhm.
Right. Which is good.
Yeah, it is, because it's not the season of grind of like a baseball season with 162 games, or
Yeah.
playing the NBA, plays 84 games a season, whatever. But the physical toll that it takes on their bodies week in, week out. Plus, there's practice in there too. It's not like they just go and work one day a week. These guys are working every day. They get a day off, one day off, and then it's work, meetings, working out, practice, you name it. So the more time you get to spend in your own bed, and anybody can vouch for this, no matter what you do for a living or how much you travel or don't travel, you sleep better at home. So the fact that they have short travel, I think will help this team. Oh, man, I wrestled with this because I so want this team to be good.
Yeah.
And I think they take a step forward. I think they can double their win total from last season. But I'm kind of using the same rationale Drew just alluded to. Is, technically I have the Jags under, but I have them under 9.5.
Right.
At 8.5, I wouldn't bet it, but I lean over. I think they fall right on that 9. And I know you guys are 10 and 12, and I came up with 8 when we went through the schedule, but there's some 50-50 games in there. We don't know what injury situations are going to be, facing. We don't know how people respond to traveling overseas. The Jags are experts at it. So they're right there, man. 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
At 8.5, I would take them over. Okay. So with that said, I said all that to say, if I've got everybody else over, there's no way I can put the Titans over.
Yeah.
It's got to be an under. So that's what I'm going to have to do. But I think it's 5 or 6. I think it's definitely a positive step towards getting this franchise back to at least being, contending in the division, at least contending to get a playoff spot. I think it's going to be tough with the Texans because of that defense and Liam Cohen with his offense in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But we saw the Chiefs only won 6 games last year.
Yeah.
Injuries just devastated them, right? So these teams aren't immune to that. So it could happen. It could be there. I think Saleh can get this thing going. The culture will definitely be different. The play calling will absolutely be better, and this defense will be, if not good, elite at some point.
Yeah.
They got some work to do, but I like what they did with the people they brought in and kind of cleaned house. I know it seemed like, God, they lost everybody. Well, Robert Saleh knows what he's doing. He put a roster together.
Yeah.
But I can't do it this year, Josh. I'm sorry, bud. I'm going under 6.5.
At first, I didn't like the Saleh hire, but you kind of convinced me that it was a pretty good hire, Hammer.
Well, they need 2 things. They need,
because at first
culture,
I wanted Harbaugh. Yeah,
and they need. You can win. The Seahawks and the Texans proved you can win games with good defenses.
Right.
And granted, yes, Seattle, Sam Darnold had one of those magical seasons, and no, there's no Jackson Smith and Jigba on this team. Jury's out on Cornell Tate.
Yeah.
But defense can win you 2 or 3 games a season. If they can win 6 and that defense can win them 2 or 3 down the road, well, guess what? That's 9 wins.
Yeah.
So I think the future's bright for this team. And Brian Daboll is phenomenal offensive coordinator. He was terrible head coach, but he's fantastic as an offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Just ask Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So, I think they've got the pieces in place. They've just got to continue to construct this roster, continue to get better on the offensive line, get Cam more weapons and more tools. And I think the Titans are in good shape. I really do. I'm a big Saleh fan, man.
Yeah. Hammer, before we move on to the NFC North, I wanted to ask you if Brian Dable rejuvenates Cam Ward, he has a really good sophomore season. How many wins do you think they can get if that happens? 6.
Mm-hmm.
Only 6.
Yep. A lot would have to happen for me to come off 6.
What if this,
even though all that stuff I just said about the schedule and travel and all that stuff, it's still there's still a work in progress.
But let's say the defense is top 10 and the offense cracks top 15 and they're top 10. Would you go maybe 7 or 8 wins in?
I mean, if they end the season with that, you would expect their win total to exceed that. Yes.
Yeah.
It would take a lot. It would take a lot, in my opinion, to get there. Like unforeseen, like defense forces a bunch of turnovers and Cam literally just turns into like what he was in college when he was, up there to win, potentially win the Heisman. So, not that they can't.
They're going to need.
Yeah, and another guy we didn't touch on before we move on to the NFC North real quickly, an all-purpose guy who is really, really dangerous for the Titans. He showed it in his rookie season last year. Shamir DK from Florida.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. All right, Hammer. I'm done rambling about Titans. Kind of like Rando with Kentucky. Love you, Rando.
Nothing like Rando with Kentucky. You didn't come out here and predict the Titans to go 15-2. So.
Right.
Win the Super Bowl.
Win the Super Bowl, yeah. I'm telling you, Drew, before we get to kickoff, Rando is going to have Kentucky winning 13 out of 12 games.
Hey, we'll find out.
Have them in the playoffs. Yeah, we'll Saturday.
Yeah, they'll win a game in the regular season that they didn't even play if Rando's got a say in it.
I hope when he releases his schedule, he has Kentucky winning more games than Tennessee.
He will, just out of spite.
I would love to see, especially T's reaction.
Oh yeah, we'll have him in a locker by mid-season. Don't worry.
He might walk off the show if that.
Yeah.
He may.
All right. So let's go NFC North. Kind of pick it up a little bit, fellas. So that's my fault. My apology. I didn't manage time.
Hey, it was a great division, though. Great division.
It was, man. It was. Yes. It was. I think
this is another one. This is another competitive division, but
this is the one. This is the one because we ended up. I thought we were all kind of on the Houston bandwagon, but you boys are sticking with Liam Cohen, and that's fine. That's fine.
Duval.
Yep.
But this one, I think we might have another one of those three-way picks. So NFC North. Well, everything got turned on its ear last year, thanks to Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and company. The Bears went from worst to first, and conversely, the Lions went from best to last. Didn't see that one coming.
Nope.
I had them under on their wins, but I didn't see last place. So Ben Johnson, his first year, they come in 11-6, win the division. First time they've won the division since 2018. Bears also won their first playoff game in 15 years, and they beat the Packers in that said playoff game. So
crazy
a lot of things going well for the Bears. It was kind of expected, and the reason being, I'll share this because this is something when I'm looking at win totals, all this stuff, continuity. Lions lost both their coordinators last year. They lost Ben Johnson to the Lions. They lost Aaron Glenn to the Jets. So I'm like, that's under for me. They went 9-8. They didn't make the playoffs. So now they get the benefit of splitting with the Vikings at 9-8 and getting a last place schedule. So the lines look pretty good. The Packers, they did what they always do. They get the number 7 seed in the playoffs. They have a star player get hurt, and then they go home. Minnesota, my God, they let Sam Darnold go. Let him walk. Didn't get trade value or anything. They let him walk out the door as a free agent because they were so confident in J.J. McCarthy.
It worked really good.
Worked out great, didn't it, Drew?
Yeah, like
because
stellar.
McCarthy struggled, got benched, had to come back and play because nobody else could, and they finished one win over 500 at 9-8 thanks to the defense, and they got to sit at home and watch their former quarterback Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl in Seattle. Great job, guys. So, with that said, Drew, new season. Chicago Bears finished 11-6. Number 6 offense in the NFL. The 29th ranked defense. Their line this year is 9.5. So Vegas not coming off too much that 11 wins. What's going to happen with the Bears?
Yeah, I mean, what a year last year. Like, Ben Johnson walked in the door. He kind of did that Signetti thing, like talking some smack when he gets the job, and you're like, okay, hang on a second. Like, is this guy serious? He's really about to do this? And then obviously the Bears, they had a strange year. Their record was really good. Obviously they moved on in the playoffs, but they won so many close games on some like bizarre finishes to the game. I don't want to say luck because when you do it that many times, it's not really luck, but interesting team. Obviously Caleb Williams took massive leaps last year. I think obviously you saw the talent that he possesses. We'll see it, I'm sure, again this year. Although he's the Madden cover, a little bit of history on the Madden curse, so that'll be something to follow along with.
Yep.
But I don't know. They got a solid 1-2 punch at running back, which I think is good. Running the football for Ben Johnson offense is certainly really important. I think receiver. Look, nobody's a bigger fan than this dude than my brother is. He drives me crazy talking about him, and I grew up playing basketball
Must
with
be
him.
Luther Burden.
It is Luther Burden. Obviously, receiver from Missouri. Really good kid, really good receiver. He's been a star athlete since he was a youngster. Really good basketball player, too, growing up. But last year, you saw a lot of flashes out of him as well, although he was really the wide receiver 4 for some of the year, and then he kind of transitioned into wide receiver 3 and expanded him more. I think the expectation for the Bears this year is like he'll be the wide receiver 1. So I think that'll be interesting to see, or maybe wide receiver 2. Depending on how depending on Odunze and if he can take another step. Obviously, he was a really good player coming out of Washington 2 years ago. They drafted him in the first round. So we'll see there. I think one of the big stories last year was Colston Loveland, the tight end rookie. Like, he was incredible. Really athletic, really good at running routes. They used him, as that safety guard as well. He was really good. 713 yards, 6 touchdowns. So I think that's impressive when you have a tight end like that, when you have some running backs and the success they have, when you have receivers who are young and successful but also still growing. And then you have an offensive play caller like Ben Johnson. It always works out. So I think the offense for the Bears will continue to be really good. Can Caleb Williams take another step? Can he limit the turnover numbers? Can he consistently play better? Can it not be, I mentioned it with Cam Ward, of the stutter step in the dropping back and then just chucking it 60 yards down the field. Can he operate more throughout the game consistently of just being a good quarterback? That's to be seen, but I think he certainly shows it. I think there's a chance, Caleb Williams will be one of the better quarterbacks in the league this year as he continues to grow. You mentioned it, Hammer. Like they signed a lot of dudes in free agency, which was good to see. The unfortunate part is Kobe Bryant, obviously underwent an injury. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 months. So
yeah, months, not weeks, months.
yeah. So I mean that's potentially like 60-70% of the year, 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And who knows if there's any setbacks? Maybe he just has to miss the entire year, which will be unfortunate.
Yeah, because I think he was their best signing in the offseason.
Yeah, certainly. And he helps them like in the second
yeah.
game.
Well, because I mean they lost both their safeties, if I'm not mistaken. So that's tough. Losing half your secondary, starting secondary is tough.
Yeah,
and then the guy you sign, pay him a bunch of money, which is like $25 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
no return on investment. That's tough.
Yeah. So
yeah, they actually lost 4 safeties. Kevin Byard being the most significant, but they had and Brisker. So those are your 2 starters right there. Gone. Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just going to close out. I think the Bears will be back. Man, I think I'm going to pick them to win the division. Like when I think of these other teams, there's some question marks around. I'll be honest, like we'll get into them, but I'm not the highest on the Lions. So I guess I'm gonna take the Chicago Bears to win the division.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're going to take over 9.5 then, because I think it's going to take more than 9 to win the division.
Yeah, this isn't the Panthers and Saints. In the
this ain't the NFC South. So
no. Yeah, I'll take them over 9.5. I think they could get maybe somewhere 11 or 12 wins and win the division.
Okay, they're plus 305. So if you're thinking that they keep moving up and Williams is the real deal and can continue to improve, I think Ben Johnson's gonna keep the ship steady. It's a great bet. So
yeah.
All right, Josh, what are you thinking on the Bears? The Bears.
Yeah, after coming off a great season this past season, like you were saying, Hammer, from going worst to first, winning the division, I think the Bears are going to pick up where they left off and have another good season this year. Most of the offensive group is back. Caleb Williams had a hell of a season this past year. DeAndre Swift is back. Odunze Burden. They added Khalif Raymond in free agency. Colston Loveland had a really good rookie season. They did a really good thing in offseason. They gave Darnell Wright a contract extension, former Tennessee Volunteer. Defense, they signed Kobe Bryant out of free agency and just – do we know how long he's going to be out for?
4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Yeah. Yeah, I was really looking forward to watching him on this Bears team. It just sucks that he's going to miss the whole season. Defense. Go ahead.
I was just saying, most of it.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah, I'm a fan of this defense. Montez Sweat, Brady Jarrett, TJ Edwards, Jalen Johnson. I think defense is going to be good again this year for the Bears. Schedule-wise, I'm looking at it. I have the Bears winning right at 9 games. That one was 9.5, Hammer?
9.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go under. I got them winning 9+ games.
Hey, Hammer, let me say this. I meant to mention it. I know his numbers don't pop out from his time at LSU, but a really good draft pick they got is wide receiver at LSU, Xavier Thomas. That dude is explosively fast. He's a unique type receiver. He only had around 500 yards, 4 touchdowns last year at LSU. But as bad as LSU was last year, he was damn fun to watch. And I thought he was way better than what his numbers were. I saw their draft and I was like, what were his numbers last year? Because I love watching him play. His numbers were underwhelming as what I thought they were, but he's fun to watch. He's another guy that gives them a unique, versatile tool on offense that I think can, just be another weapon that Ben Johnson can use. So I really like Xavier Thomas. I think he's a fun wide receiver.
No, I agree. He's not the biggest guy. He's a little small, but we've also seen some guys like that can be factors in the return game.
Yeah.
They can be used on third downs. I mean, it wouldn't be totally out of the question if they put him in the backfield.
Yeah, and use him like a not like a Debo type, but or like what the 49ers did, but something like that.
Yeah, because he's probably going to be pretty deep on the depth chart to start out. He's probably going to take an injury or two for him to really see meaningful time on the field at position. I think return game he can be pretty good.
Be a short yardage man beater though. Like
yes, he definitely could. You could stick him in the backfield, let him come out because he's real shifty and he's very good in the open field.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they can carve out a niche for him, and if anybody can find a way to use him, I think Ben Johnson's probably on a short list of guys that can work with whatever he's getting.
Or put him in some wide receiver tosses.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, just get the ball in his hands and in space and let him go to work. So, Luther Burden, I don't know if you guys heard, Luther Burden is injured right now and could possibly be looking at missing time. So there might be possibly a spot where he could, we'll see how he does in preseason because a third-round pick's probably going to see some preseason playing time. So
for sure,
I think the opportunity for him to step out there and kind of showcase will be there.
I agree.
All right, so Drew, you have them over. Josh, you have them under.
Yep, about half a win.
So you got them sitting right on 9. Okay.
Yeah.
I have been very vocal that I am not a huge fan of Caleb Williams, and it has nothing to do with anything other than his play on the field. Granted, he is electric to watch. He can sling it, make all the throws. He can throw on the run. He's a lot of fun to watch. They had a lot of exciting games last year. It was definitely one of those things that you could not count them out if there was time on the clock.
Yeah. That's wild.
But there's a lot of things that stick out to me that tells me that they're going to have some regression. And they have the hardest schedule in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start there. Each of the last 9 teams to enter a season with the toughest strength of schedule either did not make the playoffs or did not win a playoff game. So as excited as the Bears fans were coming out of last season, it's a little scary going into this season. Additionally, you remember, Drew, because there are Chiefs fans in your tribe. You remember season before last when the Chiefs won like 9 to 11, whatever the number was, magic number. I think it was 11 games one-score games that they won.
Yeah, that was
last
crazy.
year. They went 6-11, 6-11 last year.
Yeah.
Well, the Bears set an NFL record last year as well by winning 7 games when trailing in the last 2. That's not going to happen again. So they were very fortunate to win quite a few of those, actually, because I watched a lot of them.
Yeah.
And the defense led the league in takeaways. The defense collectively in total defense sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But they led the league in takeaways. Again, you can't bet on them to lead the league in takeaways again.
Yeah.
You can't bet on them to win 7 games in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime, whatever. Again, 9.5. That's the highest win total Chicago's had since 2012. And in those 12 seasons, since they've gone under 10 of the 12. Only gone over it twice. They have not gone over their preseason win total in consecutive years since 2006. I got a lot of confidence in Ben Johnson. I was impressed with him as a coordinator in Detroit. I was impressed with how he kind of coached up Caleb Williams. And I think Williams can improve. I think he can get better. I think the Burden injury, depending on how long that is, can be impactful and hurt. The Kobe Bryant injury is definitely going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't see them winning. I can't see them winning 10 games. This schedule is too difficult. And they're not going to have the luck. Luck is, if we're talking college basketball and you're looking at Ken Palm, luck is an actual measurable category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was in NFL, they would have been the luckiest team in the league last year. It ain't happening. I am dead under. And it may not be much. It may be 8, maybe 9.
Yeah.
I don't see him winning. I don't see him doing it this year. I'm going under. All right, let's move on. Josh.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with Detroit? They go from damn near Super Bowl contender to finishing dead damn last in the division. What's going to happen this season?
Are you not going to do your breakdown like their draft and everything?
I don't have it.
You don't
cut
have
off.
it?
I only had.
Oh.
Nope, I only got the AFC North, and I looked at it, or excuse me, the AFC South. I looked at it, and I'm like, shit, where'd it go? So for whatever reason, when I emailed it to myself, it did not send the second page. So we will have to stumble our way through their roster.
All right.
If there's somebody in particular you want to talk about, go ahead.
Okay.
And I'll speak to it as best I can off some notes I took on my phone.
All right, I'll start off. I like what they did in the draft, drafting overall at number 17 in the first round by drafting Blake Miller, offensive tackle from Clemson. I also like what they did by taking in the second round with pick number 44 overall, Derek Moore, edge rusher from Michigan. And a sneaky one I like, 5th round with the number overall 157th pick. I like what they did by drafting wide receiver from Kentucky, Kendrick Law.
He has a torn ACL though.
Yep.
Okay.
So he's going to be done for the year, unfortunately. But I thought he could have been a fun player in this offense. But
Yeah.
keep going.
All right, roster-wise, Hammer, Drew, I like what they did by most of the offense is back. Jared Goff, Gibbs, obviously, quarterback, running back. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams is back. Isaac Tesla, Sam Laporta. Most of their offensive line is back, besides they lost their center in the offseason. They got Juice Scruggs starting at the center position. Tate Ratledge is going to fill in the right guard position, and defense. So we don't know with the start of the season if both Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are going to start week 1 of the season. They're both injured right now, and I think that's going to be the biggest question mark for the Lions on defense this year, secondary. I like their front before, Aiden Hutchinson, Levi, I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name, DJ Wanum. I just think the Lions last year, Hammer, like you said, you had their underwins from the year before after they won the division. I think this is going to be a big year for Detroit. I got them winning. Let's look at their schedule. I got them winning 12 games this year on the schedule. I think they had regression last year, and I think they're gonna kick that regression out of the door and have a great season this year for the Detroit Lions.
Okay, so their win total, I'm showing
What's
was
that win total?
10.5.
10.5. Okay. Yeah, I got them win 12 games.
Okay. Yep, that is correct. 10.5. So you think they go over? All right.
Yes.
Drew, what are your thoughts on Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, Joshua pretty much broke it down. I think for me, one of the interesting signings was Isaiah Pacheco, obviously former lead back in Kansas City. They lose Montgomery. They bring in Pacheco, who's kind of struggled the last few years, dealt with some injuries, but brings them that kind of power back, short yardage back, which they use Gibbs in those situations to get in the passing game. Obviously, him and Bijan are kind of the, unique running backs who also can get active in the passing game. So I think that's a unique signing. Obviously, they needed another kind of running back too, and kind of that old school back, which Pacheco brings them. I think their offense will be one of the best in the NFL. Like, Goff always throws the ball for a lot of yards, always finds ways to get the ball in the end zone. I think their defense will be pretty good as well. I don't know. For whatever reason, I just don't have the confidence in them this year, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it was because of bad year last year, but I was a huge fan of the Lions like 2 and 3 years ago, but I don't know. I could see them being really good in the NFC and winning the division and competing for a Super Bowl again, but I just don't see it. I don't know. I don't know if it's because they've lost some guys, and I'm not sure if they've added anybody to like separate them. But I'm going to take them like right under that 10.5 mark and take them around winning 9 or 10 games. I mean, their schedule is not, as far as like what I'm looking at, I don't have, or it's actually like one of the easiest schedules in the league. So I think that helps them. A lot of primetime games, but I don't know. I don't see them like winning 13 to 14 games or something like that and being at the top of the NFC. I don't know. The Dan Campbell thing, like, he's a hell of a coach. He's done a great job there, but like, they're just a confusing team. Like, I don't have much words for them. I think they're going to kind of fall into that average territory in the NFC. I think there's a lot of teams that are better than them. So I'm going to take them winning about 9 or 10 games.
Okay. So you're going under by a smidge.
Just a smidge, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the schedule is going to help that for them.
Yeah. Yeah, their schedule is, of course, they get the benefit of playing a fourth-place schedule. It's the 6th easiest in the league.
Yeah.
So almost by default, they should be able to win 10 games, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of tough games. They play at the Bills. Of course, their division, the Vikings, Packers, Bears. They play the Patriots, but that's in Munich.
Yeah.
They get the Bucks at home if the Bucks scare anybody. And outside of that, man, they don't play that many playoff teams. They got a very generous schedule.
Last 2 weeks will be tough.
They will, yeah, because they have to close out, against division opponents, and some would argue the best two teams in that division, or the better two teams in that division. The Vikings aren't getting a lot of love for some reason. We'll talk about them in a minute, but you finish at Chicago and at Green Bay, so that's tough. And then they play at Minnesota week 15, so they play their entire division on the road the last 3 of the last 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So even though on paper that schedule looks pretty cake, it doesn't end well.
No.
So, they're a Jahmyr Gibbs or Jared Goff injury away from their season going down the toilet as it is. But they lost some dudes. They lost Taylor Decker, who I think was their biggest going to be their biggest loss. I mean, guy was with them 10 seasons, had 145 starts, and David Montgomery, obviously, in the trade to the Texans is very significant. With the Juice Scruggs coming over, they kind of they revamping this offensive line. They brought in Cade Mays also, shout out, Ball for Life. They released Graham Glasgow, their center. Once again, we've got a center going out. And then they had the whole weird Terry and Arnold thing. Bizarre. So I don't really know what that looks like as far as what they do in the secondary there. I know they brought in a few guys. They brought in Roger McCreary. They brought and re-signed Rock Yassin and Avonte Maddox, but neither one of those guys really moved the needle for me. Teddy Bridgewater is their backup quarterback. If something,
I think he retired. He retired, I think.
See, I thought so too, but then I heard today again that he was going to play. So I don't know.
Oh, that's
Google
weird.
it. Somebody Google it.
Wow.
Let me get up to date.
Yeah, let's get the latest and greatest. So yeah, as you mentioned, Pacheco, but he's just not been the same dude since he broke his leg.
Yeah,
and I love that guy, man. I love his running style.
Same.
He's just not been the same. Greg Dortch, Tyler Conklin, those guys don't move the needle for me. What's the word, Drew?
He did retire like yesterday.
Yeah.
And I believe their backup is none other than Ball for Life, Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs, yeah. I knew they
go.
brought Dobbs in. Okay. All right. So he's gonna I swore I heard somebody today say he was rethinking it or was gonna fine, he can go get in trouble coaching high school football again. They did sign Jack Campbell to an extension, their big bad linebacker. But outside of that, man, I don't know. I'm not crazy about this roster. I know they had a lot of injuries last year, and Aiden Hutchinson, obviously, he's like a Nick Bosa or a TJ Watt or Myles Garrett, that kind of player for them that if he's not on the field, they got problems.
Yeah.
I just don't know how much they did in the draft. Got Blake Miller in the first round, tackle out of Clemson. Derek Moore, edge rusher out of Michigan in the second. I couldn't tell you the rest of these dudes except Tyree West.
Yeah.
Who they got in the seventh.
So you would say the offensive line is a big concern?
A very big concern.
And Goff's not a runner either. So if they can't block for him, it's not like he can just take off and he's not Lamar Jackson. If they can't, their offense is screwed.
And it's not that I don't think Gibbs isn't good enough back. He is, but I'm concerned about him staying healthy and being on the field for 16 or 17 games.
And then it's Isaiah Pacheco, and it's not like he's an elite speed guy either. He's a power back
anymore.
On
not anymore.
Open up holes for him. So
So I mean, Goff has led the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns over the past 3 or 4 seasons. Jahmyr Gibbs has scored more touchdowns in his first 3 years than any other player in the history of the league. We don't need to talk about Amon-Ra. Sam Laporta needs to make an appearance and do something productive. But outside of that, this team's loaded with skill players. But it starts and ends in the trenches for me.
Big Hoss is up to par.
So the only reason I'm taking them to go over 10.5 is because of this schedule. I think when
The
they get to the
schedule.
playoffs,
Yeah.
I think they're going to probably find a rude welcome and a quick exit. This team is not built to go deep this year. And I'm going to say it again. The only reason that I'm taking them over is because of the schedule.
That weak ass schedule,
If they split their division, even if they split the division, the rest of their schedule is against third and fourth place teams. They just don't have any tough games on their schedule outside of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So I hate it because I don't want to give them the over, but I'm going to give them the over. So, all right. Drew, this is a frustrating team if you have any of them on your fantasy team as well. Talking about the Green Bay Packers. I will try to give you a quick rundown here. I do have a list that I made I can work off of. They didn't lose a lot. Obviously, Malik Willis is the big name that departed for Miami.
Yeah.
Also, Romeo Doubs is now in New England. Dontavian Wicks was traded. He's in Philly. They traded Rashawn Gary to the Cowboys as part of that Micah Parsons deal that has worked out so well for them.
Yep.
They also traded defensive tackle Colby Wooden to the Colts. So, and of course, Trayvon Diggs, not quite the same Trayvon Diggs, but still veteran presence in the secondary. Guys they brought in, minimal. Tyrod Taylor comes in as a backup. They brought in Sky Moore because they just need another mediocre receiver, I guess.
He's trash.
Yeah. Javon Hargrave, that's probably outside of Zaire Franklin in the trade with Indy for Colby Wooden. Javon Hargrave is probably their best signing. And there's only, 8 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, they signed 8 dudes. And I gave you Tyrod Taylor and Sky Moore as highlights. What's that tell you?
Doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah. And then draft-wise, let me pull that up. I got it right here. I'm not going to embarrass myself or this young man by pronouncing his name. They got a cornerback out of South Carolina. Brandon, I don't want to say it. It looks like Sissy, but
I think it's Cisse.
Yeah.
What Drew said.
Cisse.
In the second round, they didn't have a first-round pick. Third round, they got Chris McClellan, defensive tackle out of Missouri. And then it just gets worse from there. They drafted Florida's kicker, so that is just a violation of the Geneva Convention in and of itself. I don't have a lot of faith in this Packers team. I'm just gonna bluntly say it. Where schedule wise do they fall? I think they got a pretty tough schedule. They have the third hardest schedule, tied with the Cardinals this season, and I don't think that's a second place schedule, being perfectly frank. Well, neither's a fourth place schedule for the Cardinals, but here we have it. So I think the Packers are going to have some problems this season. I think they got worse in the offseason. The Rashawn Gary thing, I think, has already come back to bite him because we're looking at Parsons maybe missing the first 6 games of this season. So until he's back on the field, I have no confidence in his defense whatsoever. We don't know what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs. 5 domestic violence charges, or 5 charges involving that domestic violence. There's no way in hell I'm taking this team to win 10 games or 11 games, depending on where you got it, because it was 9.5. I think it's now 10.5. I would take under 9.5 too. They're going to be in trouble this season. I just don't see it. I'm not sold on Jordan Love, and unfortunately, Packer fans, I don't think this is going to be the year you rise back up. I think you're in for a long season. Plus, the Micah Parsons deal we know it's 6 games. It could be more, and they're screwed without him. So I'm taking the Packers under
10.5.
Yep. I would take them under 9.5 but plus 105 too.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you because there's so many question marks. Now, if you were able to tell me this team was like fully healthy, no BS going on, no injuries, then I probably would take them to go over and maybe win the division. I know they have a tough schedule, but it's the Green Bay Packers, and for whatever reason, they've been just there. They've always been there. They're always at the top of the division. They always make the playoffs. Now they don't go any farther than that, but they're always there.
Yeah, they always get the 6th or 7th seed, but yeah, they're always there.
Yeah, and I love their pieces on offense. If they were all like, if Josh Jacobs didn't have whatever he's going on with, but like Christian Watson's a good wide receiver. I think Jaden Reed's going to take a big step forward. Matthew Golden's a really talented player. Tucker Kraft was really good last year, but he had an injury. I don't know what his status is, but didn't he tear his ACL last year too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot take, he's the best tight end in football right now.
He might be, yeah. And so, like, there's so many question marks. And I'm not the biggest fan of Jordan Love, but I also think sometimes he gets a little bit more hate than what he is because he can play at a really high level sometimes, and he's ultra talented. There's just too many question marks on this team on both sides of the ball, and that's the hard part. Sometimes you can get away with dealing with question marks on one side of the ball or injury concerns or weird things going on, but you can't have it both. And I think there's obviously coaching questions too, because LaFleur doesn't really do well in the playoffs. He's lost some interesting games. I think there's a world where like he's kind of on the hot seat. There were conversations last year that he would get fired.
Yeah.
And didn't they give him an extension? I think they were going to fire him and then they gave him an extension maybe or something like that. Because I think he was a free agent coach. It was something weird.
Yeah.
Like, it was a free agent coach. They decided to re-sign him because he would have got
sure it was
immediately. So like there's some coaching concerns. I just don't know. If you were able to sell me on everybody's healthy, there's no question marks, no nothing with anybody on the roster, I would take this Packers team to go over and to win the division probably. I'm going to take the under. Too much going on. Who knows if we even get to see this team at like full go. And it's hard to win in the NFL when you have that, especially with this schedule, with the division they're in too. I don't know. Don't see it this year, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yep. No,
Might be a rebuilding
I'm with
year.
you on it. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
It could be. It could just be their year. Somebody's going to collapse in this division. It happens every season. It just may be their turn. But yeah, just a little over a week after they just absolutely fell apart against the Bears, he got a multi-year extension.
I think he was a free agent. I think he was a free agent, and I think he was too. I don't know though. Like you could have let him walk, but also like who were you going to hire that was going to make that big of a difference?
Going to hire?
Yeah.
Like when you look at what he's done, like at the end of the day, he still hasn't been horrendous. Like he's kept him in the mix. It's kind of that Dan Lanning or Steve Sarkisian mix. Like
it reminds me of Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, or Mike Tomlin.
Just good enough every year to where they can't get good draft picks, but they never go far.
Yeah.
So
and they had one, and they used
it for me.
They had one, and they used it on a receiver, which they never really did when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback. So that's certainly
exactly. Yeah, they let Devontae go.
Yeah, they let
and wouldn't pay him. And then they go bring in, Matthew Golden.
Who's really talented. Really talented.
He really is. I told a buddy of mine who's a diehard Packers fan at work that I thought Matthew Golden was going to end up being wide receiver 1, and that clearly didn't work out that way because they didn't put him in a position to be impactful. He has some flashes, but he just never They had a whole bunch of good wide receivers, but they had a whole bunch of Bs. They didn't have an A.
Yeah.
They got to find an A.
Yeah.
So, Josh, what are your thoughts? Anything else on the Packers that we need to address?
Yeah, I think pretty much Drew hit it right on. Like, they got two stud wide receivers in Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. And, yeah, and we don't know if Matthew Golden is going to take that next step or not because he's a talented wide receiver. The Packers are just waiting on if he's going to produce or not. And like Drew was saying, we don't, and you were saying too, Hammer, we don't know what's going to come out with the Josh Jacobs situation with the 5 domestic charges, like how long of a suspension it could be. And with Tucker Kraft, we don't know if he's going to start the season on the injured list or if he's going to play. Just a lot of uncertainty around this team with on the defense side of the ball, like guys like Javon Hargrave, Micah Parsons, and Carrington Valentine. We don't know if they're going to start the season on the injured list or if they're going to play. Like, I'm going to say, like, the Cowboys. I think it's too early to say, but I think they won that Micah Parsons trade. Like, is he going to get hurt too much or is he going to play? Like, you don't know. And
well, when he's healthy, though, he's a
beast.
Win a game at
he's worth 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can single-handedly win a game at D tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when healthy, he's a hell of a player. Yeah. I don't know, like, and Matt LaFleur, too, like Drew also said, he shits the bed in playoff games. Like,
they were up Packers last year against the Bears in the playoffs.
Yeah. Like, the talent is there with the Packers. We just don't know, like, the uncertainty on offense, defense. Jordan Love is a really good quarterback. We just a lot of question marks around this team. And I'm going to take the under on the Packers. With that being said, guys.
All right, we're all under on Green Bay, so we all think that could be our. Well, I don't know. Let me not get ahead of myself. We do have one more team that finished tied for last. All 3 of these teams won 9 games last year, so that being the Minnesota Vikings, 9-8, 28th ranked offense, mainly because they let their quarterback go win a Super Bowl somewhere else, and got sold a bill of goods on J.J. McCarthy. But their defense came in number 3 in the NFL. Brian Flores is constantly cranking out elite defenses everywhere he goes, and no different last year. Their line sitting at 8.5, and they are a coin flip at -110 either way, plus 510 to win the division. Losses, they lost Ty Chandler, but so basically backup running back. He's with New Orleans now. Jalen Naylor went to the Raiders. Defense is where they kind of got hurt. They traded Jonathan Grenard to Philly. Jonathan Allen left. He's now with the Bengals. Javon Hargrave, we just talked about, with the Packers. And then secondary, they lost Jeff Okudah, and they lost safety Harrison Smith. As far as signings go, I think everybody knows the gem of the offseason was Kyler Murray. And not only was it Kyler Murray, it's Kyler Murray on a 1-year veteran minimum $1.3 million salary. They're paying Carson Wentz more than they're paying Kyler Murray. Let that sink in. So I think Kyler might have a little bit of something to prove, maybe a little chip on his shoulder. He's already won the starting job. That was awarded today. No surprise in my mind, because J.J. McCarthy is ass.
Yeah, you could say that again.
J.J. McCarthy is ass. Aaron Jones reworked his deal, so his his base salary goes from $9 million to just over $5.5 million, which I thought was awfully kind of him. Aaron Jones is a great guy. I love Aaron Jones. Also, Vol for Life, Jawan Jennings signed an $8 million deal that could be up to $13 million based on incentives. And I think with Kyler Murray under center versus J.J. McCarthy, at least he's got a shot at hitting that number. And then they also have James Pierre at corner. It's about it. So they lost a pretty good chunk of their defensive line. That's the one concern I have about Minnesota. Schedule-wise, sorry, let me get to it. They're about dead middle, if I remember correctly. Not quite. They have the 11th hardest schedule, which is a little bit unfair for a team that only won 9 games and finished tied for last in the division, but it is what it is. Let's see. Josh, tell me about Minnesota. Oh, draft. Sorry. Do the draft. I got all this stuff pulled up. I just didn't have it collected.
Gotcha.
Let me run through it real quick. Well, I had it collected. It just didn't email to myself. So, first round, they took Caleb Banks, defensive tackle out of Florida. Second round, they got Jake Golday, linebacker out of Cincinnati. Third round, they had 3 picks in the third round. They got Dominique Orange, defensive tackle out of Iowa State. They got an offensive lineman out of Northwestern. And then they got Jacoby Thomas, safety from Miami by way of your Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee.
Everybody else, they're not going to see the field. Let's not even talk about them, waste time.
Yeah.
So, decent draft. All right, Josh, what do you see with the Vikings you like or are concerned about, and do they go over or under 8.5 wins?
Yeah, just like the Green Bay Packers, I'm down on the Vikings this year. They signed Jawan Jennings. They bring back Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, TJ Hawkinson. But the biggest question mark for me is Kyler Murray at the quarterback position. Like you
Sure.
and Drew alluded, can he be consistent? We saw up and down when he was at Arizona, which Kyler Murray you're going to get. You're going to get the good Kyler Murray. You're going to get the bad Kyler Murray. There was games where he threw 3-4 picks, and there's some games where he threw for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, or what have you. Defensive wise, like you were saying, Hammer, they lost most of their defensive line. I just think with Brian Flores, that defense is going to be top 5, top 10 again. Because wherever he goes, the team has a hell of a defense. But I don't know. Did you say 9.5 or 8.5 with the Vikings?
8.5.
8.5.
Yep.
Looking at the schedule right now, I'm going to go right at 8 and take them under the 8.5. It just all depends on what Kyler Murray you're going to get this season with the Vikings. So that's what I think about the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, so Josh is under. Drew, where are you with the Vikings?
Yeah, I'll start with I think they're going to go about 10-7 this year and be a wild card team. And I'll say this, though. I'm not even that high on the Vikings, and I'm not really that high on Kyler Murray. But Kevin O'Connell's done a great job in Minnesota. They've always won games. They've always been near the top of the division. I think they'll be better than the Lions as a full team, and I think they'll be better than the Packers, as we just mentioned, as a full team. And I think that'll help them get in the playoffs. I mean, he won 9 games last year, and their quarterbacks were J.J. McCarthy, Carson Wentz, and Max Brosmer. and they still won 9 games.
Who?
Exactly. I just had to research that, who played quarterback for him last year. So,
Who didn't?
like, I'm not the biggest fan of Kyler Murray, but he's better than all 3 of those options, especially if he's hungry, if he's motivated. And there's a guy on the wideout. His name's Justin Jefferson. If you don't think that dude's going to be pissed off and motivated because of what happened last year, then you're crazy. He's in the argument for the best receiver in the NFL. Maybe he is certainly top 3, top 5 at the worst. I think the Vikings will be decent this year. You mentioned it, Brian Flores' defense. They're always pretty good. The biggest question mark for me with the Vikings, and I think it's kind of going to determine a lot, is the running game. Like Aaron Jones, the other depth backs, like, can they run the football? Because we've seen Kyler Murray play football. He runs a lot of read options. He likes to scramble. But can you get the running game going, which then can help open up the passing game for Kyler Murray? Because if you can't run the football, you become very predictable. Kyler Murray's not gonna beat nobody when it's a predictable pass team, or when his 5'7" ass is running for his life trying to pick up first downs on 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 9s because you can't run the football. So I think for the Vikings to be successful, they need to run the football a lot better. That's both with the running backs and Kyler Murray. Get them in short yardage situations, get them in manageable downs. If they do that, I think the Vikings will be good, and I think they'll go about 10-7, make the wild card round, probably lose. I don't even know if it will take Kyler Murray being great. I think it just needs to be decent and just get the ball to the receivers. Like, that's the biggest thing. Can you complete passes? Can you get the ball in the receivers' hands? Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, all those guys. And Kevin O'Connell's a great offensive coach. I think they'll find a way to be successful, even if they're not jump off the paper, full of talent. I think they can still be average, which I think making the wild card is about being average.
Yeah, the Packers have made a living on it the last several years, being 9-7, 10-6, whatever that looks like, and getting the 6th or 7th seed. So, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
So you think they go over 8.5?
I do. I think they'll win about 10 games.
Okay. Just looking team stats on defense in this division against the run. The Lions were 14th, the Packers were 18th, and the Bears were 27th. There's not a stellar run defense in this division. The Vikings have the second best pass defense. Nobody else is top 10. Only the Packers are in the next stack at 11. And then the Lions and the Bears are in the 20s. So defense is a little bit of a problem for the rest of these teams. And I'm going to piggyback on something that you said, Drew, because this is the basis for my entire take on this team. If anybody thought they brought Kyler Murray in to do an actual quarterback competition, I got some oceanfront property in Kansas I want to talk to you about after the show. There was no confidence in J.J. McCarthy whatsoever. I don't think this was even legitimate competition. I think we went through the motions. I think everybody knew Kyler Murray was the starting quarterback for this team if he was healthy. He only played 5 games last year because of a foot injury. And unfortunately, he's missed 30 of 68 games over the past 5 seasons. He's not looked like the number 1 pick that we saw coming out of Oklahoma. But one thing we do know about him is when he is healthy, he is dynamite and can run. That dude is fast. And he has one of the best complement of weapons around him in Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, now Jawan Jennings. He's got Aaron Jones. They won 9 games with shitty quarterback play. They won 9 games at times with no quarterback play.
Yeah.
They did have some losses on the defensive line. I think they take a little bit of a step back there.
Hey, Caleb Banks is a big SOB, though.
Caleb Banks is going to be they built their entire draft around him, and they are going to be good regardless, because it's not just about talent, it's about scheme.
Yeah.
And that's something that Kyler Murray has never had. He has never had a defense that is this talented and good and well coached. I like their draft. I think they got some impact players that can come in and maybe start day one. I think Jack Golday could be one of those guys. Jacoby Thomas is probably going to be a situational player, as is Dominique Orange. You never know. Injuries, camp, who knows. But the one thing the Vikings are right now that the other 3 teams aren't is healthy. They don't have any significant injuries right now. The Bears, the Packers, and the Lions can give you a laundry list of guys that are hurt. So, with that said, we don't have to see 2021 Kyler Murray. We don't have to see 4,000 yards passing, 800 yards rushing, and 35 total touchdowns. We just need him to not suck ass as bad as everybody else did at that position last year. They got 9 games. If Kyler Murray is even decent, that's going to be good enough for 2 or 3 wins. So here's my hot take for you.
And what if he's just really good? What if he's just
and what if he's good? Because don't forget, Kevin O'Connell is his coach.
And Kyler in the last few years, although he's not been great, or I guess, as you know, he hasn't played.
He's not been, because he's been hurt a lot.
Yeah. He can play full season, but he's had some monster games, though, over the last 3 years. In some games, he's had some big-time games. What if he just put it all together, and then he's throwing to Justin Jefferson, who's, again, one of the best receivers in the NFL. He has 5 weapons out there that he can throw to. If he's great, I don't see why the Vikings couldn't win 11 or 12 games.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I'm going, is because if Kevin O'Connell can work his magic the way he's done with Sam Darnold, that tells me right there the fact that he got Sam Darnold into a position to win 14 games for them the previous year, and he ships him off to Seattle and he wins a Super Bowl. That tells me that J.J. McCarthy is complete ass and there's no hope. I think there's hope with Kyler Murray. If he just gets a smidge of what he used to be, I think this team goes over that win total. And I have already bet Minnesota at plus 510 to win this division. I'm not sold on any of the other 3 teams. And the other part of that hot take is I think the Packers finished dead damn last in this division. They're the worst team in this division now. I know we got the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams dynamic there, but I got more faith and confidence in Kevin O'Connell than I do any other coach in this division.
Me too. I agree with that.
And the combination of O'Connell and Flores, to me, is the best combination of head coach and coordinator that we have. If you can win 9 games with that quarterback room, give me just a little bit better out of Kyler Murray, this team wins 11, 12 games. They win the division. Plus 510. I already bet it.
I don't hate it.
That's my division winner.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Wow.
So, Drew, you sticking with the Bears?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the
North?
Bears. I'm going to stick with the Bears.
Okay. Josh,
think
if you said it, I apologize. I didn't get it. Who is your division winner in the North? You can't say Minnesota because that's bullshit. You weren't going to say them.
No, I was never going to say Minnesota. Yeah, Detroit.
You're on the Lions. I knew it. I knew we were going to be split
Yep.
on this one.
Yeah. The Bears.
Is that your biggest long shot you have so far
Oh, by
within the
far.
3 shows we've done?
By
That's
far.
my UCLA 6 win. Yeah, that's your NFL version of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't hit one quite this big last year. No, I did. I take that back.
Yeah.
I did because the Patriots were
Patriots.
plus 750 last year. But
Yeah.
I will admit, I said they go over. I said they go over by a lot. They could win 10
Yeah.
games. By no stretch did I have him in the Super Bowl or winning the division. But I said I'm going to put a little bit on the division, and it came in for me. I'm more confident in this than I was the Patriots last year.
Wow.
I really like this Vikings.
What was that Patriot win total at last year?
And everybody 7.5. And
wow.
Everybody is sleeping on them. Everybody's sleeping on the Vikings. They're too talented, too good.
That's a very tough place to play, too.
You ain't kidding, it is.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they're not the purple people eaters, but buddy, they'll be top 5.
They get loud. Yeah.
They'll be top 5 defensively. And if they just get a little bit better offensively, that's got to be worth another game or two, right?
Certainly.
So,
and then if Kyler then he's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the floor. If Kyler resurges or KOC unlocks something in him and he's really good, shit, we could be looking at 13, 14 wins out of this team.
And sometimes we try to think those things, and really just in general, like maybe a fresh start, a fresh scheme, a fresh coach, fresh terminology.
We've seen it time and time again. A change of scenery just completely changes the trajectory of a player.
For sure.
And you got to believe, man, that shit show of an organization in Arizona. Sorry, T. That it's got to be reinvigorating for him to be somewhere where he's got a competent coaching staff. He's got great fan base, and it's got to be a better environment all the way around. So I don't see any way that Kyler is as bad this year as he's been in the previous 2 or 3 years in Arizona.
Because he's got
no way.
Because he's got one of the best play callers in the NFL, and Kevin O'Connell.
He's got the best quarterback whisperer in the league right now.
He's also still way too talented. He's also still way too damn talented.
Yeah, he's got too much talent. Yes, he's a midget, but you know what? When he's on, he is deadly, and he can still run like the wind.
Yes,
just like Forrest Gump. So I got all the faith in the world that this is going to work.
Me too.
I'm not calling Super Bowl, but I think they win this division. And at plus 510, I was all over that.
If you had to predict order of finish in the division 1 through 4, where would you go?
I would
with Vikings being at 1.
I would do Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers.
Okay. I may have to bet that.
There is an exact order of finish bet.
Yes.
I think DraftKings has it.
Okay.
I don't know what it looks like. It's probably pretty healthy, to be honest, because they usually are.
Yeah.
But I like because that's going to be real heavily juiced with the Vikings being at plus 500.
Yeah.
So a Vikings.
Let's see.
Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers, exact
Predict order, exact order. NFC North. Okay, let's see. You said Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers.
Bears.
Yeah, that's 28-1. 28-1 is the odds.
I like it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, there you have it. The NFC North. We are split 3 ways on who wins this division. But we all think the Packers are going to suck. So,
yeah.
We do agree on that. Oh, and I just won my baseball bet for tonight. So, suck
on
nice. That call sheet.
Nice, Hammer.
I put 3.5 units on the Blue Jays to beat the Red Sox tonight. So
Nice.
Thank you, Dylan Cease. I'm sure you had a lot to do with it. So, all right, well, boys, went a little longer than probably expected, or y'all might have wanted to, but I thought that was some great conversation and analysis around those two divisions, just as predicted.
Yep.
We ended up going 3 different ways in the North, and y'all surprised me, man. I'm the lone wolf out here on the Texans. So that's all right. It's okay to be wrong. I'll still let you come on
Texans
the show.
and the Vikings.
Yeah, I'll still let you on the show, even though you're wrong.
Thanks.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead.
Before we end it, I want to plug it. So join us Thursday, me, Hammer, Drew. We're breaking down Big 12, Pac-12, and Mountain West Conference college football Thursday. Go ahead, Hammer.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So there you go.
All right.
Well, gentlemen, as always, a pleasure. Thank you for joining in, everybody at home. Wait a minute. Rando, I just saw this. My apologies. Now you show up after I've talked about you. I'll give you 3.5 units to play with. You're lucky we're not on a happy hour show.
Yeah, Ham or Rando.
That's some good quality material right there I can work with. 3.5 units. What do you want me to do with it? Win total, division winner, parlay. Have your people call my people. We'll get
Kentucky under 4.5 wins. Sorry, Drew. Sorry, Rando.
Rando's the one. I'm more of the realistic guy out here. Rando gets a little.
Yeah, Rando. In case you missed it, I said by the time we get to the kickoff, you will have Kentucky winning 13 out of 12 regular season football games this year. So
yes,
we'll have 2 Heisman winners. However, that was
at least 2.
Yeah,
at least 2. So no, it's all good, man. We love you. We're glad.
Love you, Rando.
Sport. So yeah, tune in with us Tuesday, of course. Right here, back again tomorrow night for the Border Rivals show. Thursday, another dropping the hammer with college football. Saturday, we're back again. Happy hour show. God only knows what happens there. If you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. So,
yep.
Join us. Come laugh with us. And
hey, Saturday, Kentucky and Tennessee's record predictions.
That's right. That's right. So that's gonna be a fun show. I know there'll be some beverages consumed and some profanity shared. So don't miss out. Drew, thank you, brother. Josh, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
We'll wrap this up. Go Vols.
Go Big Blue.
Go Vols. Peace.